This is a super common pattern in apps. We have a list of items and we can click on any of those items to see the details for that specific item. In this case, we are passing the ID of the particular item to a detail route, and then on that page we use that ID to pull in the details for this specific item. And you can see here I'm using a user service with a getUser method, and I pass that ID into that. So what we are looking at here is an imperative approach to this situation. So rather than utilizing the power of the observable streams provided by the activated route and our own simulated HTTP request to fetch a particular user, we are instead pulling data out of the streams and handling things manually. So we're using the snapshot on the activated route rather than using the observable stream of the param map to get the current value that's being passed in, the current ID. And we subscribe to our getUser method to pull the result out of the stream. We set this result up on a user member variable, and then we display that in the template. So this is all pretty easy, right? We just instantly get the value we need from the activated route, and then we can use that to fetch whatever data we need for our component. But by pulling data out of these streams, we are not coding reactively. Now, this is something I have talked a bit about in recent videos, and I don't want to rehash this too much here, but by reactively, I mean a reified reactive approach where we compose observable streams to achieve what we want. If we use snapshot or subscribe to the observable from activated route, then our data now exists outside of that stream, and we no longer have the power that having access to the observable stream provides us. Rather than composing streams, we are just handling that data manually. So again, I don't want to linger on theoretical differences too much in this video, so I'll link to a great blog post that explains the difference between transparent and reified reactive programming. In this video, I want to focus more on a practical example of why you might actually want to do it. So why does this matter here? It sounds like maybe we are just complicating things and, we want to flex our sick RxJS skills. But why should we bother to keep our route parameter inside of an observable stream? What does it matter that we use snapshot or that we subscribe? So we do need to take it out of the stream eventually to actually display it. But in this example, we are taking it out too early, at least if we are aiming to code reactively. So ideally, we want to take it all the way to its destination and then pull it out with the async pipe in the template. So our final destination here is a user being displayed on a card. We don't actually care about the ID. That's just a means to an end. It's something we need to get what we want. It's not the destination itself. So what we are doing here is kind of like having our data take a train to its destination, but it gets off one stop too early. And so now it has to figure out how to get the rest of the way manually. The data is being taken out here, and it needs to figure out how to get the rest of the way to the template. And so that's why we take the data, we set it up on a member variable, and then we display that in the template. That's this sort of extra additional manual step. But all of this could have been handled before the data ever left the stream in the first place. So now let's take a look at the reactive approach and discuss its benefits in this specific case. So what we are looking at now does the exact same thing. You can see that I have this list of people, I can click on it and then get the detail for a particular person. And the logic for this is still more or less the same. We get the param from the route, we use that to fetch a user and display that user in the template. But now we are doing it whilst the data is still inside of the observable streams, and we compose those streams together to create the end result that we need in the template. And then it's only in the template that we actually take the data out to display it using the async pipe. So that's where our subscribe happens, right at the final destination. So if you are unfamiliar with RxJS operators, what is happening here is that we are saying for any data in the param map stream, which is a map of any parameters that have been passed through the route, we want to apply these operations to it. Now this specific operator, this switch map operator, will alter our stream. So instead of user returning a param map stream, which is what it is initially, this will switch the stream to return the stream provided by our getUser method here. So what switch map allows us to do is take the params from this stream, we can get the ID from that, and we use switch map to pass it in to our getUser method here. So we're composing these two streams together to get the end result we want, and the end result is a stream from our getUser method, which is going to be a stream of the particular user we want to see the details for. So this is like extending our train track all the way to the final destination. And to really play with the train track analogy and the idea of switching, you can imagine that we didn't just continue in a straight line all the way to our final destination. The train actually had to go through a fancy little contraption that switched us onto a different track. So there is a lot of power to this because you can do way more than just use a switch map operator. And obviously there is some complexity here in actually learning how these operators work and how streams can be composed together. But even with just this isolated example, I think the result is way nicer. We now no longer need our ng on init to handle that data orchestration we were manually doing, which is cool because there is less code now. But perhaps more importantly, there is less opportunity for bugs to be introduced because everything is isolated within the stream and the data is only pulled out and exposed to the world in the template, where we are subscribing to it with the async pipe. So we never actually touch the data directly, we just declare a computation for what should happen to any data that passes through the stream. Okay, that's it for this video. If you did like this video, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.